Okay, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to this live revision session for GCSE business students. Today's topic is marketing, and joining me, Jim, to work through the activities. Top right, Graham. Then we've got Mike, bottom right. You're getting a wave, and bottom left, Peter. Just whilst the guys are getting set, perhaps you could just type into the chat window to say hello, or hello G, hello Graham, hello Mike. And hello Pete in the chat window, so we know you're there. Graham, do you want to just take us through a bit about how this session's going to work, how you want the students to use the chat window and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Hello everyone. So there are a range of activities all related to the topic of marketing. So we've got some MCQs, some calculation questions, some true or false questions. The activity has been designed to allow you to type some answers into the chat window. So, for example, when we do the MCQs, there'll be 4 options, A, B, C, or D. You can type what you believe to be the correct answer into the chat window. And we'll be splitting the activities between myself, Mike, and Peter. So, shall we get started? So, let's get cracking. I'm going to hand you over to Mike, who's going to take you through the first activity, which is some MCQs.
Thank you, Graham, and good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, we're going to look at some multiple choice questions, otherwise known as MCQs. Question 1 is on the screen. You've got 4 possible answers. The question is, which of the following is a method of primary market research? Which of the following is a method of primary market research? A, trade publications, B, survey, C, competitor websites, or D, the internet? One choice, please. Pop it in the chat window, A, B, C, or D, and then we'll have a look at the answer. Good stuff, guys. Lots of answers coming in. Seems to be a lot of agreement. So which of the following is a method of primary market research? Well, primary market research is done firsthand. The answer, as I think everyone has given on the chat window, is B, survey. Trade publications, competitor websites, and the internet are all examples of secondary market research that already exists. Let's go to question 2. You're getting the hang of it. Multiple choice question number 2. What does USP stand for? What does USP stand for? Is it A, unique sales proposition? Is it B, a unique selling point? Is it C, unbelievable sales promotion? Or D, unique selling price? A, B, C, or D? Pop your answers in the chat window, please. Brilliant, thank you. Keep them coming. A, B, C, or D? Remember, if you don't answer this, you will definitely get it wrong. So A, B, C, or D, worth a guess, even if you're not sure. Make sure you answer all of the multiple choice questions in your assessments. Thank you very much. Well, USP stands for unique selling point. B is the correct answer again. Unique selling point. Something that makes a product stand out and differentiates it from competitors. Unique selling point. Here's question 3. Read carefully, please. Statement 1. Quantitative research involves finding out people's views, attitudes, opinions, and beliefs. Statement 2. A USP can be created through product differentiation. Statement 1 and statement 2, your choices here. A is statement 1 is true and statement 2 is true. B is that statement 1 is true and statement 2 is false. C is that statement 1 is false and statement 2 is true. Or D, statement 1 is false and so is statement 2. Let's have your answers, please, in the chat window. A, B, C, or D. Read carefully, please. A, B, C, or D. Thank you to all those who have responded already. The chat window is very active. Lots of responses here. And universal agreement, I think, again, well done, folks. Let's look at the answer. The answer is, of course, C. Statement 1 is false. Quantitative research is about numbers and figures. Qualitative research is about views, attitudes, opinions, and beliefs. Be very careful with those terms. They are often mixed up. But statement 1 here is false. Statement 2 is true. As I said with question 2, a USP is all about differentiation. Okay, that concludes our multiple choice. Let me hand over to Peter for 3, 2, 1.
Hello, good afternoon, folks. So this activity is called 3, 2, 1. You're going to have 90 seconds to answer 3 questions. So if I can have the next slide, please, Jim. Here we go. So can you give me 3 examples of extension strategies, 2 methods of promotion, and 1 element of the marketing mix? Be great to see your answers in the chat window over the next minute and a half or so. See a couple of things coming through. When you're thinking about extension strategies, think about the topic that relates to, product life cycle. How do you go about extending the product life cycle? You might be able to even give some specific examples that relate to certain products or services. Excellent. Some really good points coming through. Some strong knowledge of the marketing mix, common assessment topic, and in fact what you'll find with some of these answers when we go through them, you'll be able to think about how these link to some of the assessments you've done in class, and we'll have a little think about how we could use them to develop answers too. So I think that's come to the end of the 90 seconds. Let's go through the answers. So 3 examples of extension strategies are as follows. Firstly, we could cut the price. That would hopefully further stimulate demand. We might amend the advertising campaign, so that could be in order to remind consumers about the benefits of buying a certain product or service. And finally, we could add new features in order to extend the product's life cycle. Common example, well, an example that we saw only a couple of years ago with the PlayStation 4, of course, was a new hard drive added to that to make the PlayStation 4 able to store more games and therefore encourage more people to buy it. On to the next slide, please, Jim. That's an excellent example in the chat, limited edition as well, like they do with games consoles. So 2 methods of promotion. We've got sponsorship and special offers. Now, again, it's worthwhile remembering that when a firm is selecting its methods of promotion, it's going to choose a method according to the stage in the product life cycle. So they're going to pick a method of promotion in terms of the life cycle of the product or cash flow needs. There's a number of different reasons why different methods are going to be selected. And finally, we've got 1 element of the marketing mix. Of course, product, price, place, or promotion. We pick product, but obviously if you pick something else, put that in the chat window, don't worry whatsoever. So thank you very much for those contributions in the chat there, some excellent ideas. Apologies if I didn't spot yours, there's lots coming through. Excellent.
Thanks, Peter. That was amazing. Some phenomenal answers in the chat window. Someone's just mentioned the Ansoff matrix. So someone's had a big slice of business pie for breakfast. That's absolutely fantastic. And I didn't get the name of the person, but finding a new market as an example of an extension strategy. That was really insightful. Superb. On screen, you can see a calculation question. So it would be useful if you had on your possession a calculating implement. That could be a calculator or a smartphone or anything with which to perform calculations. There are 3 calculation questions interspersed throughout our marketing revision blast. So the first one is, a business sets a sales price for a product at £12. Due to poor sales, it decides to reduce the selling price by £1.50. Calculate the percentage change in the selling price. You've got 30 seconds with which to solve that question. Please, if you can, type your answer into the chat window. Fantastic. So hopefully you can hear me. I know I've had a few issues with my mic. Can you just type in the chat window if you can hear me, please? And see lots of correct answers in the chat window. Can we have a quick look at the answer, Jim, please? And the answer is, and someone actually got this, fantastic, minus 12.5%. So recognizing that this is a percentage decrease, it's actually gone down. So how we work out a percentage increase or decrease, it's the difference divided by the original times 100. So that's absolutely fantastic if you got that. And remember, a lot of people got that answer in round about 30 seconds, which is astounding, really. So also remember, in calculation questions, show you're working out. So you've got the difference divided by the original times 100, and it is a fall or a decrease of 12.5%. Superb. Fantastic. I'm going to hand you back over to Mike now, who's going to go through an activity called the bubble quiz.
Indeed, I am. Thank you, Graham. So the bubble quiz is different to the multiple choice we looked at before. You're still going to see a question, and you're going to see four possible answers to that question. But with the bubble quiz, they could all be correct, or they could all be wrong, or indeed anywhere in between. So you could be looking for no correct answers, one correct answer, two correct answers, three correct answers, or four correct answers. What I would like to do, please, as we see each question, just put a number in the chat window. So if you think that one is right, you put one in the chat window. If you think two is right, and so on. So question one, let's have a little practice. Which of these are stages in the product life cycle? Which of these are stages in the product life cycle? We've got growth, differentiation, decline, and introduction. How many do you think are correct, if any? They could all be wrong, remember. If you want to be extra clever, you can tell me which letters you think are correct. So pop your answers in the chat window. Which ones are correct? We're looking for the right answers here. Growth, differentiation, decline, and introduction. Lots and lots of answers coming in. A range here, but most of them are saying that three of these are correct. We'll look at the answers here and just check and see if that's correct. Indeed it is. Three of those are stages in the product life cycle. Introduction, growth, decline. A, C, and D are the correct answers here. Differentiation, of course, is not. Well done, everybody who got that right. You've got the hang of it now. We'll look at a few more of these. Question number two, which of these are methods of segmenting a market? Which of these are ways of dividing up a market? We've got location, income, age, and gender. How many of those, if any, are correct? 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And if you want to give me the letters, please do so. Lots of answers coming in. Well done, Lois. I think you were first. Some different answers here. Yeah, okay. But most people seem to be saying that all of these are methods of segmenting a market. And all of those people are correct. All of these are methods of segmenting a market. We can do it by location, based on where people live, income, based on how much they earn, age, and gender. They are all possible methods of segmenting a market. Question number 3 on the bubble quiz. Which of these are reasons why meeting customer needs is important to a business? Read the question carefully, please. Which of these are reasons why meeting customer needs is important to a business? A, to survive. B, to minimize sales. C, to be competitive. D, to increase costs. How many are correct? 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Give me the letters if you're extra clever. Which of these are reasons why meeting customer needs is important to a business? Different answers here. Thanks to everyone who is contributing in the chat window. Very focused. And clearly some people reading the question very carefully. Which of these are reasons why meeting customer needs is important to a business? The answer here is that 2 of them are correct. A, to survive. B, to be, C, to be competitive. A and C are the correct answers here. Businesses don't meet customer needs in order to minimize sales. They want to maximize sales, generally speaking, and they want to decrease costs. So B and D are wrong. Question number 4 on the bubble quiz. Which of these are methods of secondary market research? Which are methods of secondary market research? A, survey. B, internet. C, observation. D, government reports. How many are right? Good stuff, Mags. I think you were first in on that one. Lots of answers coming through now. And we're giving the letters as well as the number of correct answers. Which of these are methods of secondary market research? Remembering, of course, that secondary market research is research that already exists, as opposed to primary, which is done firsthand. Correct answer here is, again, that 2 of them are correct. This time B and D. The internet and government reports are both examples of secondary market research. Surveys and observation are primary market research done firsthand. Here's our final bubble quiz question then, before I hand you back to Graham. Number 5, which of these are advantages of selling products online only? Note the wording of the question, please. Which of these are advantages of selling products online only? We've got A, customers can touch and feel the products. B, information on websites must be up to date. C, the cost of delivery can be expensive. And D, products can be taken away instantly by customers. Which of those are advantages? 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4. Pop your answers in the chat box, please. So we're looking for advantages here. Which of these are advantages of selling products online only? A whole range of answers here. Some saying 1, some saying 2, some saying none. Well, the correct answer is that none of them are correct. None of these are advantages of selling products online only. Customers can't touch and feel the products, so that can't be right. Information on websites must be up to date. It's a disadvantage, really, of selling online only, as is the cost of delivery can be expensive. And finally, products can be taken away instantly by customers. Well, they can't if we're selling online only. Well done with the bubble quiz. I'll hand back to Graham for some more 30-second challenges.
Thanks, Mike. So another 30-second challenge question here. So you can see the question on screen. A business generates sales worth 60,000 in a local market. This represents a 40% market share. Calculate the value of total sales that are made in the market as a whole. So calculators or calculating implements to the ready. You have 30 seconds and maybe a bit longer to work out the answer to that question. If you can, type your answer into the chat window. And see some of the answers starting to come through now, which is great. Fantastic. So lots of answers being put into the chat window, which is fantastic to see. Superb. So let's quickly run through the answer to that question. And the answer is 150,000. Fantastic. So well done if you got that answer correct. So it is really important to be on top of, your quant skills and calculations, and, practice makes perfect, as they say. Superb. So I'm going to take you through another activity. This is the 60-second challenge. Now, on the left, you have 5 key terms, A to E. On the right, you have the definitions to those key terms, 1 to 5. All you need to do is match up the key term with its definition. So what I like in the chat window is a letter and its corresponding number. So you have 60 seconds with which to do that. So type in the chat window the letter and the corresponding number. Jim, please start the music. Amazing stuff. Before we look at the answers, it was really, really good to see so many correct answers into the chat window. And I think if I've got this correctly, someone called Mags was the first in the chat window with every single one right. So well done to you, and well done to everyone else who's got some correct answers. Let's quickly run through them. Jim, please, next slide. Fantastic. So we've got market share, A2, percentage of total sales in a market that a business holds. We've got B5, market segmentation, splitting down the market into different groups of people with similar characteristics. C3, product differentiation, is the way a product is seen as distinct from rival products. And Mike also, linked that nicely to unique selling point. Primary and secondary research is an area that students often confuse. So primary market research is collected firsthand for specific needs, whereas secondary research or secondary market research is collecting research that already exists. Well done for everyone for getting involved. That was absolutely tip top. I'm going to hand you over to Peter now, who's going to take you through a true or false activity.
Okay, hello again, folks. We've got 3 true or false questions coming up. Dead straightforward here. All you need to put in the chat window is whether you think the statement on screen is true or false. If you want to try and put a little bit of justification in the chat window for your reason as well, that's great. So the first question we have is that constant sales promotions can affect the brand image of a business negatively. Is that true or false? Oh, quite a few statements coming through now. Couple of reasons as well there. Very good. Okay, Jim, can we see the answer, please? Okay, well done to those of you who put that the answer to that question was true. Constant sales promotions can have a negative impact on the image of a business. And there are a number of different reasons before that. Because of that, sorry. It could be that consumers could start to perceive the business as possibly low quality, because constant sales promotions might be trying to reaffirm a certain image about the business in the consumer's mind. And after a while, it could just be the case that customers, yes, excellent idea there from Mags, customers could feel pressured to buy the product, and therefore they want to try a different brand instead. Excellent. Thanks for that one. Next question, please, Jim. Questionnaires are a common way of collecting qualitative data. Is that true or false? Again, if you can try and justify your reason, that's excellent for when you're attempting assessments, particularly when you're developing those analytical chains of reasoning. But I'd say we're 50-50 down the middle here in terms of our thoughts. And there's some interesting justifications coming through there. Okay, Jim, can we have the answer to this question, please? Right. The answer to this question again was false. Questionnaires are a common way of collecting quantitative data. As Mags has said in his comment, quantitative data is easily analysed. And of course, when you've got a questionnaire, you may mostly have yes, no, or what we would refer to as closed questions. Those closed questions are easier to analyse in terms of quantitative methods, maybe using a spreadsheet, simple tally chart, something like that. Okay. Surveys where consumers or individuals may be asked to justify a response or given a more open-ended response might be a more common way of collecting qualitative data. Or of course, interviews where you can get that rich reasoning for why consumers want to buy a certain product or service. Thanks again for the chat window comments that are coming through there. Some really interesting points. Next. Last one. During the growth stage of the product life cycle, sales growth slows down. Is that true or false? Think about what we'd expect to see in the growth stage in terms of interest, sales revenue. I think resoundingly, we've got false coming through here. And again, another excellent justification. Okay, Jim, can we reveal all here? During the growth stage of the product life cycle, it is false that sales growth slows down, okay? Because clearly when the product has just been introduced and it's becoming more popular, we would expect to see sales values and volumes increasing and not slowing down. So that's it from me for the true or false quiz. Thank you very much for those of you who've contributed to the chat window. It made my job really easy and some of those comments were really insightful too. So I'll pass back over to Graham now. Thanks very much.
Great work, Peter and Ian. Just to sort of reinforce what you said there, really some insightful analysis and explanations in the chat window, which is really, really good to see. So I've got some bad news, guys. It's the last question of our marketing blast, and what better way to finish than a calculation question? So on screen, an entrepreneur sends out 250 postal questionnaires to houses in the local area to gauge interest in a new business idea. 55 questionnaires are not returned. Calculate the response rate for the postal questionnaire as a percentage of the total number of questionnaires that were sent out. So, our last question, please type your answer into the chat window. Excellent. Before we look at the answer, just give everyone a few more seconds just to type their answer in the chat window. There's some great responses there. Some real accurate knowledge and understanding of how to calculate this question, which is great to see. Let's have a quick look at the answer. Jim, please. And the answer is 78%. So 195 questionnaires were returned. 195 divided by the total number that was sent out, the 250, multiplied by 100, gives us a response rate of 78%. So there we have it. That concludes our marketing blast, and we hope you found it useful. It was amazing to see so many answers in the chat window. We are doing another revision blast on the 4th of February at 3 p.m. and the topic is finance. Then the week after we will be moving on to human resources. Before we go, if there are any topics or areas you'd like us to cover, can you just quickly type them in the chat window, and we'll try and build and incorporate those into our future sessions. You're very welcome. It's great to have you all involved. So if you have any topics you want to see us cover, please type them into the chat window, and we'll give you a few seconds to do that. And as you're doing that, on behalf of myself, Mike, Jim and Peter, I've had a great time, and it's been amazing to see so many right answers. So thank you very much for getting involved. It was really good. And goodbye from me.
Thank you. Goodbye from me.
Yeah, cheers everyone. We'll see you at the next
Very
session.
much. Bye.